I don't even have words to talk about the steady downhill slope that Monday Night Raw is on. I can't even look at anybody with a straight face anymore that asks me legitimately why I'm Team Blue. Wow, it's bad. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your September 5th Labor Day edition of Raw, whatever. I can't even get hyped up for it because that's how much Raw sucks, and my sinuses are fucked up as usual. Couple little house cleaning things to get out of the way real quick. Last Friday I was on the In the Ropes show 2016 wrestling debate with a couple other guys, including Wrestling Jesus. It's already been decided that Wrestling Jesus is the winner. Big surprise there. But if you want to go check it out, I suggest you go over to the In the Ropes show YouTube channel and check that out. It was a lot of fun. Cheers to Matt from In the Ropes show for involving me in that. It's all good. Congratulations to Wrestling Jesus. Go on, represent Canada when we get to January. Another thing, down in the box below, you're going to see a brand new link along with all the other links for all my other friends down there. You're going to see a link to Elena Nic0le's channel. Really awesome. Just been chatting with her the past little bit. Go check out her videos. They're fucking good. And that's about the end of it. Also, I've got a poll going on Twitter right now. Not that I'm trying to win any arguments with anybody, but I really just want you to go to my Twitter. It is the pinned post. It is the pinned tweet at the top of my Twitter feed, at Spaz Phoenix. Tell me what pay-per-view you're looking forward to more. Clash of Champions from Monday Night Raw or Backlash from SmackDown Live, which is coming up this weekend. So, actually, it just occurred to me, I made that poll last 7 days, and by the time 7 days is gone, that pay-per-view is already going to be gone, so I'm kind of an idiot. Right off the bat, on the pre-show tonight, we saw highlights of Kevin Owens winning the title last week, which is the only thing really worth talking about on Monday Night Raw. Let's be real, we announced that we're going to have the Kevin Owens coronation tonight, which is false advertising. We didn't see anything tonight that I would call a coronation. We saw the Instagram video of Kevin Owens' son reacting to his dad winning the title, which is all good. Most people have seen, and I will make this short, sweet, and to the point, the guy whose name I can't pronounce from ESPN that made fun of Kevin Owens' 8-year-old son for being happy that his dad won a wrestling title can go fuck himself. Oh yes, Sasha Banks mentioned on Twitter that she has some bad news to announce on Raw tonight. There was a bunch of Bad News Barrett references by people on Twitter and by people on the pre-show, which is funny because Bad News Barrett's not in the company anymore. We see backstage Charlotte telling off Dana, which is nice, and we get it announced that Charlotte versus Bayley is going to happen tonight on Raw. Not, you know, you wouldn't want to do something silly like save that for a pay-per-view, would you? No. We open up the show proper with Foley and Stephanie arguing in the back. Foley confronting Stephanie, oh my, and getting all intense. It's really... It's shitty when you see Foley you can see that he can still get that deep, dark intensity to him, but he's yelling at Stephanie McMahon, so you know nothing's going to come from it. So it's like, mwah, mwah. They go into some big emotional thing. I want to be able to trust you because I remember when I fell off Hell in the Cell and I had a tooth in my nose, you were that innocent girl in the corner with the shy smile. And when you consider the age difference, that's kind of a creepy thing to say. But whatever. Long story short, Stephanie convinces Foley that she had nothing to do with what Triple H did on Raw last week, which is fine. A whole bunch of conspiracy theorists are saying that Triple H is going to lead an NXT invasion on Monday Night Raw, which is fine, except for you're already going to be joined by the entire Cruiserweight division in 2 weeks, which will be fun, let's be real. But who is going to be in this invasion? If you take out basically the TNA guys and Shinsuke Nakamura, you've got nobody left on the NXT roster to maintain NXT. So that's a dumb idea in my books. Foley and Steph are then in the ring. We flash from them being immediately backstage to them being immediately in the ring, which is, you know, continuity on its point, right? We welcome Owens. He's in a suit. He's got big pyro for once. That's the only time he got pyro tonight. I'll just put that one out there as well. Big, loud, you deserve a chance, and then he goes into a ramble like Kevin Owens does. Some of the highlights of this is, this celebrate is exactly what I wanted. This celebration is exactly what I deserve. This title is exactly what I deserve. The whole arena knew it last night as soon as the 3 count went down. These idiots trying to hijack my moment tonight know it as well. I don't need any of you to tell me that I deserve it. This goes well back to the first promo that he ever cut on John Cena. You know, I don't need you to tell me how good I am. So there's a little consistency there with Kevin Owens, which is good. Talking about the match last week, he said he did 98% of the work and Triple H just gave him a nudge, which is fine. Monday Night Raw is now known as the Kevin Owens Show, which is fine and which is nice merchandising because he's got a new t-shirt, which is the old Raw is War logo and just says Kevin Owens Show. It's an interesting t-shirt. I'm not going to buy it, but it is what it is. Rollins comes out predictably. He says, Kevin, this isn't even about you, so you need to shut up. Turns to Stephanie, how could you do this? Da-da-da-da-da. Kevin, you're just a puppet. I have no problem with you. Really rants and raves. Sort of pseudo babyface, as we knew he would be, to Stephanie. And both Foley, who's questioning Stephanie McMahon, and Kevin Owens, who's the lone wolf kind of I don't give a shit about anybody character, they both back up Stephanie McMahon. And if Rollins says, if Kevin Owens is your guy for the new era, I'm going to burn the new era to the ground. Kevin Owens goes into another diatribe, basically saying, since you've been injured, you know, you call yourself the architect. Since you've been injured, all you've done as an architect is draw yourself blueprints for failure, which is a little bit of a corny metaphor, but coming from Kevin Owens, you know it's still delivered reasonably well. Rollins beats down Owens, which is just funny. Steph tries to suspend Rollins, and Foley overrules her because he can. Stephanie says that he's suspended. Foley says no, he's not. In fact, he's going to get a title shot at Clash of Champions because he was wronged last week. Oh, yes. Which is not technically true if you think about it, because a Fatal 4-Way is no DQ. There's no such thing as cheating in a Fatal 4-Way. You might not like what Triple H did, but by the letter of the WWE law, there's no actual cheating involved. I mean, it's fine. It is what it is. I just think the whole, like, Foley being pseudo babyface, pseudo backing up Stephanie McMahon, who's never going to be a babyface, you've got the heel that just won, the heel that got screwed, the heel commissioner, and the kind of heel general manager. So, okay, we all know that we love Rollins and we love Owens, but I want to know, from WWE's point of view, from the storyline that they're trying to tell us point of view, who the fuck are we supposed to be cheering here? That's all I'm putting out there. We see a preview for some action movie that has Lana and Edge in it, which is nice. We go back to the back, and Foley and Steph are arguing some more, and Owens jumps in some more, and Jericho has Owens' back. He's buddying up to his new championship buddy and all that sort of thing. Owens is going to face Zayn tonight, and Jericho is going to face Rollins tonight. Jericho versus Rollins for reasons. Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens, which was billed 2 months ago as the one last match to end it all. Oh, yes. And then we get Charlotte versus Bayley with no preamble whatsoever. Collar and elbow tie-up, and Charlotte flings Bayley's headbands out of the ring for reasons other than... She keeps on calling her the Sesame Street girl, which is incredibly... I mean, I guess it fits, but it's incredibly uncreative, and it shows the limitations of somebody like Charlotte. Moving on. Front slam by Charlotte and a back elbow, and she starts working the arm. Bayley works on the arm, rolling with the rolling arm drags and a boot by Charlotte. They both work each other's arms. You guys do know, as I say all the time, I do like the anything you can do, I can do better storyline. That much I like. These two talents are great in the ring. There's some shit in here that I don't like, and we're going to get to that when we get to that. But please, any criticisms I have for this match and the things that happen after this match, please understand that I do not mean it to take away from them as talents in the ring. Charlotte has zero character, but she's great in the ring. Bayley, I have some opinions on Bayley. I like Bayley, but I have some opinions on Bayley that, you know, hashtag Bayley wins LOL is, I think, already a thing. Bayley eats the turnbuckles. Charlotte does the same. Bayley botches something. You know that through the corner turnbuckle DDT thing that Sami Zayn does, Bayley looks like she's trying to do something similar, except she gets herself caught up under the bottom turnbuckle. Charlotte works the knee outside as soon as she manages to get herself out of that mess as we go to commercial break. Figure 4 headlock by Charlotte as we come back, and she rolls over, turns it into that facebuster maneuver that we haven't seen in a while, probably because it looks like she's just humping the ground, which isn't the best image for the women's revolution. Boot by Bayley. Charlotte tackles Bayley into the corner. Charlotte works on the leg in the ropes around the post, mutilates Bayley's leg. This psychology is fantastic. Single leg, or sorry, works the leg around the ropes, works the leg around the post. Single leg crab and a leg DDT, and followed up by some chops. Second rope back elbow by Bayley, and some forearms and some clotheslines. Corner spear by Bayley on the leg that's just been worked on, but fuck it. Distraction by Dana. Heel miscommunication between Dana and Charlotte. Bayley to belly on the leg that's been worked on all damn match. Gets the win for Bayley. I know it's happy. We're happy to have Bayley on the main roster. I don't begrudge her a win, but she didn't. Oh. They both worked each other's arms, and then both of them forgot to sell equally, so that falls to both of them. The way Charlotte went to work on Bayley's leg in I guess part 2, you would say, of this match was all good, and it all each transitioned to the next. But when she went into her finishing sequence, she just, broke my heart a little bit. Like I say, I'm a fan of Bayley. I don't want to shit on her. I really don't. I'm not into that. But it just made me cringe at the end of the match. Both workers. I think part of my frustration is, even though I don't think Charlotte has much of a character, in ring I think both of these girls can do better, and they're gonna fight at Clash of Champions, aren't they? We'll get to that later. We see a video because it's September. We're gonna focus on the Connor's Cure movement, whatever. And yes, there's two sides to the argument. On the one side, it's a great cause. On the other side, WWE is giving itself some free publicity. It's all good. We see a video for the Cruiserweights coming to Raw, and we see Charlotte yell at Dana more in the back, and she slaps her in the face. Now, here's my first problem tonight. Here's my big... Okay, first one was Owens and Zayn. Second is this. We've got Bayley versus Charlotte, which is a match that we want to see on pay-per-view. We gave it away on Raw so that Dana could fuck it up, so that we could further the Charlotte mistreating Dana feud. We wasted Bayley in that match. There we go. Bo Dallas took on a jobber, which is nice. Bo Dallas comes out, he's all goofy, and he's like Bo, with the sign, Bo leaving Bo, and his wrestling gear is terrible. And he's still talking like somebody kicked Michael friggin... Sorry, what the hell's his name? Who am I thinking of? He's still talking like somebody kicked Mike Tyson. There we go. There's the joke. Lame as it is and a little bit late. He's still talking like Mike Tyson got kicked in the nuts. And he's still doing some weird... He does some weird sort of... Like, he does some happy, creepy poetry, but he's looking his opponent right in the face and trying to be serious at the same time. He, you know... myself and Kristen Iguapo a while ago on one of the preview videos from one of the pay-per-views made mention of the fact that Blake Murphy and Bo Dallas all look a bit rapey, and this did not help that at all. You know, he's in there, he's being goofy, but he's being goofy with the serious face, and he's staring his opponent down, and nobody knows who the opponent is because it's a jobber, and Bo Dallas debatably is a jobber. But knockdown, knee drops, mounted punches, knee lifts, and some twisting DDT-looking overhook thing gets the irrelevant win for Bo Dallas. In the back, Jericho and Owens hug, which is nice. Jericho versus Rollins is up next, and this is one of the high points of the night, but then again, it's for reasons. What is going to come... okay, first of all, what is to come of Owens and Jericho being a tag team now that Owens is the Universal Champion, the head of the company? Jericho's going to mooch off him, I guess, and try to be his sidekick, which is weird because he's the veteran. But they're not going to go for tag team titles, and Rollins beating up Jericho, what does that get him at the end of the day, other than an opportunity for Owens to jump him from behind, which didn't happen. So Jericho being Owens' buddy was totally a missed opportunity in here. But Jericho versus Rollins was still a good match nonetheless. Dropkick and a beatdown by Rollins to start showing off that he's all pissed off from last week. Righty, raw. Chops in a mud hole. Chops by Rollins. Jericho bails. Suicide dive by Rollins. They brawl outside. Boot to Jericho and some forearms. A slap and a boot in the corner by Jericho, and they brawl outside. Again, Jericho eats the guardrail. Some chops by Rollins. Running boot on the apron by Rollins, and Jericho springboard triangle drop kicks Rollins off the apron, which is a beautiful spot as we go to commercial break. Leg sweep into the turnbuckle by Rollins. A chop battle, forearms and kicks by Rollins. A sling blade. People are questioning whether Rollins should use the sling blade after the other guy that uses the sling blade was just put on the shelf by Rollins, but that's an argument you guys can have in the comment section. Corner splash and a boot by Rollins, a high knee, walls of Jericho, and a mudhole stomp answered by an insecurity by Rollins, lion salt by Jericho, and say it loud, say it proud, some Daniel Bryan silly kicks, but a pedigree out of nowhere gets the win for Rollins. Again, a couple of things that they could have said. Okay, Jericho went in and softened up Rollins for Owens to come in and jump him and beat the crap out of him after the match, make a statement before their match at the pay-per-view at the Clash of Champions. That didn't happen. If that's not what they're going to do, Jericho doesn't really have any meaningful tie to Owens, so this match is pointless. And Triple H turning on Rollins last week would have been the perfect opportunity to give Rollins a less predictable finisher than the pedigree. We've proven tonight that he's still going to use the pedigree. Now, the commentators try to cover that little logical fallacy up as like, oh, he's using a pedigree to send a message to Triple H. And that might be swallowable if it hasn't been his finisher for the past year or so since they were dumbasses and took away the curb stomp. Doesn't really work. Sorry. Moving on. But we did get the Daniel Bryan silly kicks, which means they should be sued for trademark, seeing as Daniel Bryan is exclusive property of SmackDown. Haha! Oh yes. Cesaro versus Sheamus happened. Again, match 3 of 7. Cesaro, after he fucked up his back last week, looks like a zebra with all the medical tape that's all over his friggin' body. Sheamus wins. I proceed to not care. Speaking of not caring, the Shining Stars come out and cut a shitty promo about Puerto Rico. Enzo comes out to talk about how great America is and how great Labor Day is, and then I shit you not, he proceeds to go into fake labor in the middle of the ring and have an invisible baby. For reasons. And he's doing sit-ups in the middle of the ring. I'm not a woman, but I'm pretty sure that's not the way you have a baby. Anyways, Shining Stars versus Enzo and Cass is your match, unfortunately. Cass tosses out both men's suicide dive by Enzo, and that's all we get, because then we go to commercial break. Comeback, headlock by Epico, high knee by Enzo, rolling back suplexes by Epico, which has a really funky Puerto Rican name that I don't remember because I didn't write it down. Choke on the ropes. Cass comes in, kills everybody. Empire elbow, splash, boot, air Enzo. They all clusterfuck around for a couple seconds, and one of the Shining Stars gets a bullshit roll-up with the tights and gets the win over Enzo and Cass. Here's a team that's starving for the tag team championships and deserves them, and another team that just nobody cares about. And why did they get the win? And why are they still trying to sell timeshares in Puerto Rico? And why was Enzo pretending to be in labor in the middle of the fucking ring? Oh yes, in the back, Sami Zayn's getting interviewed, but he gets mocked by Owens in short order. They talk about their match. The only thing that Sami Zayn has to briefly speak back to Kevin Owens is, hey, I beat you in a meaningless, useless match, in a meaningless, throwaway pay-per-view 2 months ago. Yeah. I sense a Daniel Bryan level bullshit underdog story coming, and Zayn deserves better. This is not a shit. This is not me talking shit about Zayn. This is they ruined Daniel Bryan with that shit. Please don't do it to Sami Zayn. Push him to the mid card, or push him to the main event if you wish, or throw him in the cruiserweight division where he'll do fucking fantastic. Don't give him the fucking I'm an underdog, therefore I'm going to win all the time, and then we get LOL Zayn wins. Nia Jax versus Ann Esposito is a squash match that doesn't matter, except for the fact that they showed on Instagram that she's friends with Alicia Fox, which is nice. OKFabe said on Twitter that it looks like they're just pulling people out of the crowd because that girl doesn't even have ring gear. And Connor, my buddy, you are completely on point. Anybody who's not watching this, for whatever reason, I suggest you go over to OKFabe's channel, watch his post-Raw rundown, which includes himself, I believe, Heel Steven, sometimes Chase Oliver, and Elena, who I mentioned earlier. They do some good shit over there, so before you watch this, or after you watch this, go check them out. Tell them Spaz sent you. Anderson and Gallows do some shit. They do. They are still going on their retirement home shtick from last week. They are retirement specialists. We retired the Dudleys, and how long are they going to live on that? they bring out 3 actors dressed like old men, and it's the old day. And the comedy drags on and on and on. New Day comes out, and they do bad comedy about the bad comedy, which is nice. They come to the ring, club bails, New Day dances, and then they beat up the old day. And I look at this segment, and I'm just like, if this was 2 weeks from now, I could be watching Gotham. That's all I'm saying about that one. It's hard, guys. It's really hard. Speaking of things that are difficult, Darren Young versus Jinder Mahal with Titus O'Neil on commentary, because, yep, this is still a thing. This is still a thing. Darren Young versus Jinder Mahal. Collar and elbow tie up and an elbow by Young and a neckbreaker. A hangman and a high knee by Jinder and a drop kick. Knee drop by Jinder and a choke. Trade punches, sloppy toss by Young, and the gut check. The gut check, even though Titus comes down to the ring, tries and fails to distract, Young still gets the win. Titus and Young brawl, and I'm bored to tears. Now, the story sucks. I actually feel bad for Jinder Mahal in this scenario, because I promise you this. And I promise you, I mean every word of this. I care more about the return of Jinder Mahal than I do about the rivalry between the 2 jobbers known as Titus O'Neil and Darren Young. Now, I promise you, and this is where I'm going to get in trouble, but I'm going to say it anyway. Why do I hate Raw? Why do I like SmackDown? Right now, so far... Oh yeah, and then we got the... Okay. Lost my train of thought. So far, we've had 3 squash matches. 3. Because Bo Dallas had a squash match that was creepy. Nia Jax has a squash match, and I'll give you a little spoiler alert. Braun Strowman has a squash match that we're going to talk about in a second. Not only that, Monday Night Raw gives us 2 different flavors of I don't give a shit over and over and over again. And that's Sheamus and Cesaro, and if you don't like that flavor of bullshit, we've also got Darren Young and Titus O'Neil. Oh yes. In the back, Nia Jax confronts Alicia Fox, who hasn't been seen in time and days. Alicia Fox starts throwing rubber gloves at her and accidentally hits her in the face with the box and gets shoved over a table. And that's the segment. Braun Strowman fights Sin Cara. Now, Sin Cara says that because Braun Strowman beat up a guy named Americo last week and took his mask off, he's insulting all the luchadors ever. Rah. And I'm going to stand up for the luchador heritage. Rah. For a second, I thought we were going to get an unmasking of Sin Cara, but we did that several years ago and ended up with Hunico. And tell me again how that went. Just saying. Sin Cara gets a little bit of offense in, and why, I don't know. He loses by countout after he gets splattered on the outside. It's one thing to have a squash match against jobbers where they have to eat the finisher. This is somebody who, okay, people don't think very much of Sin Cara, but he is a legit roster member. He lost in a manner that, like, you don't even warrant a finishing maneuver. And then he got his ass kicked again after the match, and Braun Strowman, get out of my ring, and rah, and just... Oh, I have this terrible, horrible image of, like, Braun Strowman, Bo Dallas, and Nia Jax starting a faction, and it'll just be terrible. Sasha Banks comes out after they show her tweet about 100 times as coming to Raw with some bad news tonight. Talk about every journey having an end and a beginning, and rah. The beginning of this journey was written by people like Mae Young, Fabulous Moolah, Alundra Blaze, Trish Stratus, Lita. They wrote the first couple of chapters, and we finally got to where we need to be. There's no bra and panties matches. There's no more butterfly title. We're finally referred to as superstars. Every time I come to the ring, I do it for all of you. I do it for all the people that have ever been told they can't do something. Rah. And at SummerSlam, I don't make any excuses. Charlotte beat me for my title. She pushed me to my limits. She pushed me beyond my limits. And I've got a medical update for all of you. And she looks like she's going to cry. And rah. She's interrupted by Dana. Because what this Raw needs is more Dana Brooke. I'm going to use you and your broken body story to make myself better. I'm going to finish what Charlotte started at SummerSlam. I'm going to keep a promise to her. She walks in, eats the bank statement in about 2 seconds, and even though it's not a match, I still want to say, LOL, Sasha Banks wins. Grabs the microphone again, and she says, oh yeah, by the way, the bad news wasn't for me, it was for Charlotte. I'm back. I'm going to Clash of Champions to get my title back. So fuck you, Bayley. That's what the writers are saying. Bayley got used to build the Charlotte versus Dana story earlier tonight. She beat the champion, but fuck you if you think you're getting a title shot because Sasha's back. Thanks for being a fucking bookmark. Oh, and fuck yes. Owens versus Zayn, which, you know, the last time they ever fought was 2 months ago, so clearly we're in a time machine. We borrowed New Day's time machine because we're getting Owens versus Zayn again. Don't get me wrong, the match is great, and we're going to go through it. They trade punches to start, and Owens bails, they brawl on the outside, they trade some more punches, they chop and back elbow each other, and back elbows by Owens, etc. Leg lariat by Zayn. Zayn eats the guardrail hard on the outside, but gets up on top of it to throw a moonsault anyway, just because it's one of his signature moves. Yes. Yes. If we can talk about people like Roman Reigns, and you know, John Cena and the Usos, etc., having their 5 moves of doom, we will also, to be fair, talk about people like Sami Zayn having their 5 moves of doom, one of which is that predictable guardrail moonsault. Coming back from the commercial break, Owens rides a headlock and hangs Zayn in the ropes. Sent on by Owens, they trade some slaps for a while, which is uncomfortable. Just watching 2 grown men stand in the ring and slap. It's not like the knife edge chop, because the knife edge chop is part of wrestling, don't get me wrong. To watch 2 guys in the middle of the ring that have such a heated rivalry, as in they've just fought a bunch of times and we couldn't come up with anything else for them to do, to watch them stand in the center of the ring and literally bitch slap each other is moderately uncomfortable. Zayn tosses Owens on the outside, suicide flip dive by Zayn on one side, Owens retreats to the other side and says, okay, if 1 is good, 2 is better, does the suicide flip dive on the other side. Blue Thunder Bomb by Zayn and a corner exploder suplex. Hangman by Owens, clothesline and a cannonball by Owens. Over-under suplex is finally hit by Zayn. He's tried about 5 or 6 times to hit this over-under suplex. 1 was on the apron, which if he had done it on the apron, would have fucking killed somebody, let's be real. Zayn comes off the top rope for a top rope something and fucks up his ankle again. But it's okay, because by the time Owens is outside the ring as well to meet him, he hits him with the over-under suplex. Here's where I'm going to go with the no-selling once again. You are about half the size of Kevin Owens. Let's be real. No dig at Sami Zayn. He's a smaller guy. He's built smaller. Whatever. Kevin Owens is a bigger guy. He's built bigger. Now, you've just fucked up your ankle. You're brawling on the outside, and you're going to tell me that on that fucked up ankle, you can still hit a over-under suplex on a guy that much bigger than you. You're not Brock Lesnar back in the day hitting a one-legged F5 on Kurt Angle when you've got the size advantage. That doesn't work. Over-under suplex. Runs for the haluva kick. Now at this point, when it's time for the spot, now you can't run because your ankle's all fucked up. You instead walk gingerly into a super kick by Kevin Owens and a powerbomb. It's a powerbomb. It's not even a pop-up powerbomb. It's just a bog standard powerbomb for the win for Owens, and Sami Zayn can wander off back into obscurity because of whoever the hell he pissed off. I don't even know. So that's the end. Kevin Owens is our champion. He looks dominant. Rah. We've gone through the whole night, and I saw somebody say this on Twitter. I think it was Slice, but I'm not sure. We've had an entire Monday Night Raw without Roman Reigns. Except no, because here comes Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns comes down, doesn't say anything, lets the commentators do all the talking. Rah. Oh, Roman Reigns got screwed over too. Let's not forget about Roman Reigns. They stare down. Owens bails. Only to the apron, though, so that Jericho can come on the apron on the other side, so that Roman Reigns can stand in the center of the ring like a fucking goof with 2 Canadians on the outside just looking at him, waiting for Foley to get his friggin' cue. Basically comes out, says Roman Reigns has a match next week. And, okay, they did this on SmackDown. Raw is clearly biting from SmackDown with the whole Ziggler story, and I hope it has the same result. But Roman Reigns has a match next week because he needs to get his hands on Kevin Owens as well. And if he wins, he gets to join the match at Clash of Champions and make it a triple threat match. Because we know what the Clash of Champions fight card really needs is Roman Reigns in the main event. And to close out the show, Roman spears Jericho for reasons. Now, fuck the fact that we want to see the one-on-one match between Rollins and Owens. No matter what the story is, the match that people want to see is Rollins versus Owens. Fuck the fact that, they should have had Rusev cost Roman the match last week. they didn't do that. Fuck the fact that now that he's not the champion, they could have resumed that feud for the U.S. title. Fuck the fact that if Roman Reigns is in the main event is added to the main event next week on Raw, then Rusev is they're gonna have to pull another contender for Rusev out of their ass before Clash of Champions, which is what Raw seems to be doing a lot for their champions. None of this is good. None of this is good. The two good matches on this show were Jericho versus Rollins and Zayn versus Owens again. And they were good matches on their own, but even the circumstances surrounding those two good matches were shit. So, no. 100% no. We've got Charlotte, who's going to face Sasha, who should debatably be facing Bayley, which is fine. We got Rusev, who should be facing Roman for the U.S. title, but he might not be because Roman might be thrown in the main event scene. Again, we've got a tag team title picture which consists of two tag teams, and they're being goofballs and playing dress up, and the best tag team you've got on that roster right now just jobbed the Shining Stars. You've got Titus O'Neil versus Darren Young, which is one flavor of shit that I don't give a shit about, and you've got Cesaro versus Sheamus, which is another flavor of shit that I don't give a shit about, and you've now got three talents on one roster that are all utilizing squash matches. Oh yes. I mean, okay, granted, Braun Strowman had a real roster opponent this week, and Nia Jax is going to have a real roster opponent next week. But I mean, Sin Cara and Alicia Fox are as close to jobber as you can get from people that are actually on the roster. Are they not? I like Alicia Fox, but what the fuck have they done with her recently? Oh yes. I've been debating with people for a while now, and I'm not going to make it as a statement. I'm going to make this as a genuine request. I know there's a lot of people that like to say, oh, I don't put one show against the other. I just watch wrestling for the sake of wrestling. That's crap, because everybody, whether it's consciously or subconsciously, is comparing the two shows right now, comparing the two rosters right now. And if you're honest with yourself and you admit that you are doing that, like the rest of us all are, and you say that Raw is better than SmackDown, you better show your fucking methods down in the box below. Anyways, this Raw sucked. Like I said last week, one fantastic match does not save a shit show. Definitely two okay matches do not save a shit show. If you don't believe me, if you don't agree with me, if you want to argue with me, if you want to disagree with me, that's okay. I'm Spaz. You're not. Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there. Talk down there. Start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I'm tagging out. Bye, guys. Raw still sucks.